God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
All right. That was a forebear of things to come. That was my Townsend wind-up.
Yeah.
And you'll see what I mean by that here in a little bit. So, good morning, everyone. So, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, where we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love, both here in the sanctuary, and we're also live streaming online. So, if you look up at that little camera right there and wave to everybody and say, "Hey!" All right. And so, did I say who I am? Okay, my name is Reverend Mike McMorrow. My name is. All right. So, yeah. So we have a little thing that we like to do here called hugs and handshakes. Boy, I better get my act together while we take a little break. Let's just say good morning to each other, and I'll get my act together. How's that?
2, 3, 4.
We're gonna break out the hats and hooters, Josie come on. We're gonna rev up the motor scooters when Josie comes home to stay. We're gonna park in the street, sleep on the beach and make it. Roll down the jam till the girls say when. Lay down the law and break it when Josie comes home. When Josie comes home so good, she's the pride of the neighborhood. She's the raw friend, the live wife. She prays like a Roman with her eyes on fire. Joe, would you love to scrapple? She'll never say no. Shine up the battle apple, we'll shake them all down tonight. We're gonna mix in the stream, strike out the stroke of midnight. Dance on the bones till the girls say when. Pick up what's left by daylight when Josie comes home. When Josie comes home so bad, she's the best friend we ever had. She's the raw flame, the live wire. She prays like a Roman with her eyes on fire.
Where'd he go?
Okay, time to go to work. Enough of that visiting. All right. So let's welcome our presider this morning, our head of practitioners, Suzanne Jensen. Yes? Yeah, let's show her some love. And we're all going to take a deep breath. Just release, relax, allow ourselves to surrender into this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And as we know, we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. That fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Suzanne lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center. And as Suzanne lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
I'm so grateful for being this morning. It's such a wonderful experience to see all these expressions of the one life out here and seeing God essence everywhere. Aliveness, beingness, infinite intelligence. It permeates everything out in nature, on the drive here today, in this room. I see God in each and every one of you. And I recognize that God essence in your faces as who and what I am. And I know today that this service is co-created in abundant, prosperous, wonderful, creative energy, spontaneous good, We live in a spontaneous, creative appreciation of joy and being today in this service that all flows well and perfect. We're serene, we're present, and all is well. I release my word today knowing all of these things declared are already so, and in such gratitude and acceptance of this, together we say, and so it is. I want to speak about reality today. There's a quote in the August edition of Science of Mind magazine: reality abides in eternal peace, in everlasting calm. Just reading those words opens a portal to that space for me, and I'm transformed and I'm there. There's a familiarity in the words. It's amazing how sometimes we just find ourselves in that deeply peaceful place by grace. It's nothing that we try for. We are just connected and in the flow of life. It's our natural state of being. Other times, amazingly, it can come in going through challenges, walking through perceived valley of the shadow of death and coming out the other side. I had an experience just recently where after having my yearly health exams and tests, I was called back in on one for a second look due to what was termed indeterminate findings. The technicians wanted further tests done, deeper evaluation. They were not sure what they were seeing. Honestly, I was feeling shock about this. I had to wait 12 days to be fitted in for an appointment for these tests. I don't think I have to tell you that I had some difficulty staying calm, centered, and in peace and in reality. It seemed like a long time before I went in for the tests. Even so, there were days when I found myself in a space of complete peace. And then at other moments, a tremendous sense of fear swept over me. There were practitioners and friends treating for me, knowing wholeness and light, and that kept me in a peaceful space when I was unable to do that for myself. Finally, thankfully, everything turned out well. The word was good. I am healthy, whole, and complete. Having gone through that experience, I realize now that peace is always here in the depth of my being, no matter what's happening on the outer. When I'm still and present, there's peace. When I'm in alignment with the simplicity of this moment, I'm at one with, and I know the power and peace of life itself. The acceptance of what is brings the power of the universe to flow through me, and things improve. There is spaciousness, no opposition. I did not prefer to go through that unsettling medical experience. However, coming out the other side, I noticed that it has changed now how I experience life. My load is not only lightened to the positive outcome of the findings, but attachment to many of the smaller things in life have simply fallen away. Some things have lost their sense of importance to me. I now have a greater clarity about what is absolutely important versus what is relatively important in life. An overall transcendence of some false beliefs and illusions seems to have taken place. A problem that I had considered significant for quite a long time prior to that medical experience does not seem to be as troublesome now. I'm in acceptance of things as they are. I can even say that I'm grateful. I have a greater sense of good, a deeper appreciation of living life, an expanded awareness of the depth of life and being, and I'm grateful. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you. Namaste.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to see you. Please welcome, hello. Please welcome David and Kent here in the group. And the band is always thrilled when we get to back up our next singer. Please welcome Miss Angela Carol Brown.
Only love can make it rain the way the beach is kissed by the sea. Only love can make it rain like the sweat of lovers lying in a field. Love, rain on me, rain on me. Love, rain on me, rain on me, rain on me. Only love can bring the rain that makes you yearn to the sky. Only love can bring the rain that falls like tears from on high. Love, rain on me, rain on, rain on. Love, rain on me, rain on me, rain on me. On the dry and dusty road, the nights we spent apart alone, I need to get back home to cool, cool rain. I can't sleep and I lay and I think the nights are hot and black as ink. Oh God, I need a drink of cool, cool rain. Love, rain on me, rain on me. Oh, love, rain on me, rain on me, rain on me.
Oh, God, I need a drink. That's what I heard. Right? Of love, right? Of love. That was beautiful. Angela, that was really beautiful. Thank you for that. We have a great music ministry, don't we? We are so blessed. What a gift. Thank you, everybody. So I'm here to make some announcements. First of all, let me say I see some new faces here. And I'm going to ask you, if you feel comfortable, to just raise your hand and let us know if you're new here, maybe for the first time. Look, we've got 3 or 4 new people. So it's our responsibility to rain love on them, right? So can we be in agreement and do that? You're most welcome here. We're happy to have you. And I hope that you find this to be a safe place to land, as I have You're very welcome here. So we have a really great bereavement support group that normally meets today, and I want to say I'm sorry if you're here for bereavement support today. It had to be canceled. So, but they'll meet again next month. We do have our first Divine Dining event coming up, which are fundraisers for our community. And the first one is July 28th, coming up on Saturday from 2 to 6 at someone's wonderful home in Chatsworth. There's a sign-up sheet in Sparks Hall, and I think they're only accepting 20 to 25 people. It's almost full. So if you've signed up for that and haven't paid, we need payment so that refreshments can be purchased. Actually, lunch or dinner is going to be purchased. So, and I expect that the address of that will be emailed to people. Yeah, okay. So also, Summer Tai Chi is coming up on 4 Wednesdays beginning August 1st from 9 till 10, and that's going to be facilitated by Nancy, right there. There she is, standing up, waving in the back. Also, we have a great class in mindfulness coming up, starting August 2nd on Thursday evenings from, thank you, I know. From 7 to 8:30, and that's going to be facilitated by Christine. Will you stand up, Christine, so everybody can see you? Listen, I took a class with her once before. It's fantastic. It's really going to be a great class. So again, that's going to be 8 Thursdays starting August 2nd in the evenings. And then we have a wonderful evolutionary music concert coming here on Wednesday, September 12th at 7 o'clock. Paradiso and Rasamayi. New to me, but sounds like it's going to be interesting, especially if you want to meet your bullmate. I don't know. Maybe crystal bowl, chanting bowl, yeah. Yeah, it's not this kind of bowl, and it's not soulmate. It's meet your bowl mate, right? Crystal bowl, maybe? Hollywood bowl, maybe? So that sounds like it's going to be fun. It looks like it's going to be $22 in advance and $33 the day of the show. So I'm expecting that that's going to be pretty wonderful. You can purchase tickets online, not here. We will not be selling tickets here, but they can be purchased online, and there's flyers in Sparks Hall, which is just on the other side of this wall for those of you who are new. And please join us after church for refreshments if you're new. Coffee, cake, cookies, fruit, whatever we have, so that we can get to know you better. I also want to just say that we offer prayer after church. There's licensed practitioners and ministers available. If you would like prayer after church, please let one of us know, and we'll take you into a more private room, and we can just pray together. And I think that's all I got. Thank you. Oh, sorry, no, there's something else.
One more announcement.
Oh.
It's Andrea's birthday.
Tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Andrea. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's actually tomorrow, but I accept 66 years young tomorrow.
Let's stand for the Declaration of Principles. We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and expresses itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Oh, my God is so good to me. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Oh, my God is so good to me. Yeah. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Oh, my God is so good to me. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Oh, my God is so good to me. Here we go. Oh, my God is so. Oh, my God is so. Oh, my God is so good to me.
So you got that, Joey? I saw you smirking back there. It's my Usain Bolt. For those of you who are not track fans. All right. So how are we doing out there? Good. Good to see y'all. Yeah. Let me just get myself organized here. So before I get started, I just want to give a shout out and a big thank you to, well, first to welcome back our teens who've been in teen camp all week. So let's give them some love. Some are on the other side of the room. So hopefully they'll be checking in with us. And I would want to give a shout out to our teen advisors, Greg Eibach and Mary Milbrand, who filled in for Claudia at the last minute when she had a work thing come up. So if we can just give them some love and just, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to do youth camp. I've done it a couple times for winter camp, and that was enough. The kids are wonderful, right? The kids are wonderful, but they don't let you have nap time, man. After dealing with teens after, yeah, anyway, we don't need to go there. Because they're like, go, 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 go. Yeah. So, so this month's theme for July is revealing wholeness. And so we're continuing to work with this. So there's a place where our physical bodies begin and leave off. But the mind has no such limitations. Our thoughts penetrate everything around us. Our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, our faith and fears tend to make an imprint on our environment. Now, this is not as bold a claim as it once was. There is all kinds of science now that is emerging that is beginning to support this idea that there appears to be a consciousness in the universe, right? For lack of a better word, that there is a unifying, energetic consciousness that our thought is connecting with. Now, if you think about it, this should not be such a big, so hard to believe when you consider that all of the aspects, all the natural laws of the universe have been impressing and expressing themselves since the very moment of the Big Bang. So doesn't it make sense that as life emerged on this planet, exposed to all of these energetics, that we as the logical expression of life on this planet throughout the development and evolution of life would have been exposed to all of these principles energetically, and that there is some undetected way in which we are all connected. In fact, we are the logical expression of matter coalescing with itself over billions of years, 13.6 billions of years, so that matter then becomes not only conscious, but becomes conscious of being conscious. That we are thinking beings that can not only think, but we can think about thinking, as Alan Watts used to say. This is a pretty amazing thing. And if in contemplating on just this one thing alone, really kind of gets my juices going sometimes. To think that I am one with all of life on ways that are seen and unseen. That I am one with life, that we are all one with life, in that our thought in some ways that we are just now beginning to be able to quantify and qualify, has an effect not only within this thing that appears to be separate from others, but on our environment as well. Now, this is a pretty bold claim. And metaphysicians for thousands of years have been saying this to be so, right? I mean, even long before Plato. And yet now the science is there, I think because we have scientists who are curious enough to go looking for the evidence, and they're finding it because it's there. And our ability to measure such things is there. So there is a place. There is this place where our bodies end and our mind takes over. That our mind is not bound by anything. So that in this philosophy that we call the science of mind, and it is a philosophy, that we teach that all things in this manifest universe are created first in thought, which then manifests in form. So in the cosmological sense, the thought originates from this one original thinker. The infinite intelligence then as an aspect of the divine, creating that which it thinks about out of itself, bound only by the nature of its own being, which is infinite. And as we are thinking beings, we are the individualized reflection of this divine activity. So that our minds, and by extension then, our lives, are the individualized expression of the mind of the divine. Now, I don't know about you, but that's like a whoa moment. So the July theme of revealing wholeness then could also be recast as, let's get real and heal. Let's get real and heal. Which means, of course, that we have to stop pretending sometimes that everything is okay when it really isn't. That Holmes himself spoke to this idea many times, but perhaps most specifically when he wrote that in the science of mind, we do not say that everything is all right when it's all wrong. We do not say there is peace when there is no peace, but rather we try to discover what is wrong and why we do not have peace. We do not say that people are not poor, sick, or unhappy. We ask why these things should be if the original cause of all things is harmonious, perfect, radiant, and happy. So in other words, we look at life and its challenges and its conditions that are being presented to us, and we ask ourselves a very simple question: what is mine to do? Now, sometimes this is quite is apparent, right? Because it's like right here. And then sometimes it can be right here and we don't see it. But this is part of life, yeah? So, why these things should be, if the original cause of all things is harmonious, perfect, radiant, and happy. So in this passage, Holmes is asking us to look at two things. One of them is to stop playing let's pretend. Stop playing let's pretend. Stop smearing a little positive thinking over the horse apple and understand, right, that if you take a rotten apple and you dip it in a caramel thing, you don't get a candy apple, you get a rotten apple with caramel on it, right? And so what we're knowing is that that rotten apple is a demonstration of thought that can be shifted and lifted. I'm using it as metaphor, right? That we can shift and lift our thinking, and then what happens? The apple glazes itself with the sweetness of life. That's what happens. So we stop playing let's pretend. We start owning our stuff. We recognize that we alone are responsible for our own experience of life. Yes, there are systemic things out there. Again, we're not playing let's pretend. There are systemic things going on out there. But we also understand is that because our thought affects our environment as we do our own work, right? Our thought affects our environment, and when enough of us are doing this in a consistent way, regardless of denomination, by the way, right? So the science of mind is not bound by any one particular religious thought, right? You know, that it's really unleashing this idea that there's a higher power available to everyone and that we can use it. That it's not sky God up there somewhere that needs to be appeased in some way, but rather a power and a presence and an intelligence reflecting as each one of us, and that we can use it. And in fact, I would even go so far as to say that it is longing, right, to the extent that God longs, longing to express itself by means of each one of us so that it can have a greater experience of itself by means of the thing that it creates. Which is a pretty wild idea if you think about it. Now, I don't know about you, but the way I was raised was that I had to appease, follow the rules, right? Don't blaspheme, don't cuss, don't get to church on Sunday. In fact, in my tradition, if you miss church and like you died without going to confession, there was a warm seat waiting for you. All right? Right next to the contractors and the lawyers. Right? So I come to this teaching that says that all is intelligence. That there's one mind of God, right? So that, yes, God, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. However we know God to be, that's cool, right? And it's more than that. Even if we've been in this teaching for a long time, right? That whatever we think God is, it's more than that. Because as soon as we start thinking about it, what are we doing? We're sticking it in a box. Right? So I love what the ancient Hebrews came up with this idea. They don't even spell the name out. Right? It's like God G-D. Right? I love that idea. There's a recognition that as soon as we put a label on it, we've limited it. And that's what Holmes is really encouraging us to do. To get in touch with the sense that there is a higher power to life that is expressing itself, and it's not bound by body, so it must be expressing itself energetically in some way. That the most logical thing to think of in this way then is thought itself. That all of this creation, right, is an expression of God thinking about the things that it's thinking about and then making it out of the thing that it is, bound only by the nature of its own being, which is infinite. Whew, that's a lot to think about. So to the first point, we start experimenting with the ways that this thinking and being in the world, how it's true. So I'm a skeptic. I grew up, I loved science. I wasn't any good at chemistry, but I liked all the other sciences. I wasn't any good at math either, but I kind of liked that other people were good at it. And, I was grateful that, they could figure out how to build airplanes and stuff. And because I came up with slide rules, right? And you had to mortgage your house to get a calculator, right, when you went to college. Crazy, right? Now they give them away at the bank. But I've always been skeptical. And so when Holmes said, don't take my word for it, right? This idea, I think it's a really bold idea that our thinking affects our reality. Not in my reality, the reality. I think it's a pretty bold idea. And Holmes says, don't take my word for it. Prove it to yourself. Prove it to yourself in a conscious way. And he gave steps to do that. First, recognize that there is a higher power at work in the world, whatever you know that to be, and to be open to knowing that it's the allness and wholeness of all of life expressing, right? That we are open at the top to have a deeper awareness, and in this awareness, then we begin to see all the myriad of ways in which it shows up in the world, and that we are one with it, right? And then from that place of knowing we are one, to confidently speak our word, our desire, our needs, our whatever it is that we want to bring forth to shift the current condition of our life, to speak it confidently and releasing it unto this divine activity that must respond to it as a natural law. And that this is what we're demonstrating, right? So for instance, we can believe in the law of gravity. We can believe in the law of gravity. And then we take a sledgehammer and we drop it on our toe, and now we know the law of gravity really works, because we've demonstrated the principle by means of our toe. Well, in a very real way, we are demonstrating the power of the divine in the same way, right? You create an affirmation, you put a date on it, and then in a very conscious way, 3 times a day, you do spiritual mind treatment, and you start to see that your life is shifting. Now, it depends on what's going on and how big your deal is. So, can you spontaneously demonstrate? Yeah, you absolutely can, right? Now, I'm one of those guys who it's kind of an incremental thing. Now, I do have enough faith to know that even as I'm walking through it, that I'm demonstrating, right? That I'm demonstrating. And then I have the ta-da moment where the demonstration happens, and then I go, whoa, it's here. And then I often see the little demonstrations that kind of got me there. Now, why is that? Because my consciousness had to develop. My consciousness had to develop to really receive and to allow the ta-da moment to happen. Why is that? Because when I was over here, I didn't have ta-da consciousness. Am I right? Okay, and then what happens? We have the ta-da moment, and then we go, whoa, this stuff works, right? And then our faith is strengthened, and then we go back to the next thing that we need a ta-da moment for, that maybe our faith isn't as strong, but it's stronger now than it was because we had our ta-da moment over here that is now supporting this greater idea, right? And in all of it, all we're really doing is using a power and a principle to show that God works every time. We call it all kinds of stuff. And we can get caught up in theory, too much theory and too little practice. So for a guy like me, I have no idea where I'm here, by the way, but well, I'll get back there eventually, right? So I can get into the philosophy, and my head can go, yeah, and then it goes this way and it goes that way, right? And then somebody cuts me off on the freeway, and I'm giving them half a peace sign and wondering, wondering what the heck just happened. Right? I was just listening to Jamie Lula, and I was one with all of life, and now the next thing you know, I'm going, peace, brother! Well, there's deeper underlying stuff in there, yeah? This is where our spiritual practice comes in, right? Because we want to understand and know that we don't claim peace where there is no peace, right? And that as we heal our, up until now, unhealed stuff, life changes. So I'll give you an example again, see if you can relate to this, that I had, what I call Vesuvian consciousness, when you never knew when it would erupt. Maybe it's now Haleakala, or which one's in Hawaii doing its thing now? But at least out of that, you get an island, right, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, so that was not working out very well. So as I dealt with the deeper underlying causes of insecurity, right, and don't tell me I'm insecure, by the way, at this point. Don't tell me that I'm less than in some way, right? And then I come to this teaching, and I recognize and know that I'm whole, perfect, and complete. And yet, as I say, I'm still driving down the road sharing half a peace sign, right? So what's going on there? Well, that's what is known as a spiritual bypass, right? So we don't want to claim things and know them, but at the same time, we also know that what's being revealed is being revealed to be healed. So, of course, going to places like this helps too. So when we're doing a spiritual bypass, and I just wanted to share this with you, that because many of us have been around the teaching for a while, and so when we can get into this trap of spiritual bypass, which Robert Masters, so you can find him online, this is a great article, he calls spiritual bypassing avoidance in holy drag. Right? So we're all holy drag queens, I guess, is what he's saying. So let me just share this with you and see if you can connect with any of this. Spiritual bypassing is a use of spiritual practice and beliefs to avoid dealing with our painful feelings, unresolved wounds, and developmental needs. It is much more common than we might think, and in fact is so pervasive as to go largely unnoticed, except in the more obvious extremes, including exaggerated detachment, emotional numbing and repression, overemphasis on the positive, anger phobia, right? So that's when you have a Vesuvian thing going on, now all of a sudden, you're trying to, that doesn't help, by the way. Blind or overly tolerant compassion, weak or too porous boundaries. Now, ministers don't have that, by the way. Lopsided development, right, which is cognitive intelligence often being far ahead of emotional or moral intelligence. So this is the one that, do what I say, not as I do, for people like in my position, which actually would be a good practice for many things. Okay, so moving on. A debilitating judgment about one's negativity or shadow elements, devaluation of the personal relative to the spiritual, and delusions of having arrived at a higher level of consciousness. Perhaps you've noticed that about me. Right? So can you see yourself I know I can see myself coming and going in these observations. So what is, and it can show up, by the way, is in conversations, and this is not helpful, right? Don't take it so personally. Whatever bothers you about someone is really only about you. It's all just an illusion, right? So we hear that a lot in metaphysics. It's just an illusion, right? If we want to create relationships that are strong and a reflection of the divine, those aspects of the divine that we want to experience, right? We really need to be willing to be courageous, really almost ruthless in the way that we look at ourselves, not in judgment, but just calling ourselves out in a way that's, well, I could have done that better. What's this about? How can I shift the way that I am participating in life when I show up this way? Is this really who I am? Right? What must I do? How can I go be still? Well, I guess I'm saying it. So one of the ways that we can do that is to just take some time to be still and to know there is within you and within me this infinite intelligence longing to express itself as mind in our own thinking, to bring forth an awareness of ourself that can then be shifted and lifted by using the infinite power and presence of the divine to shift that which is currently showing up as the tendency of our thought, that we shift it and lift it into higher realms of thinking, so that ultimately then we demonstrate the life that we're really wanting to call forth. And that is called a demonstration. And when we have the demonstration, we go, whoa, God is great. Right? Because it's not about us, right? When we really open ourselves up, it's not about us doing anything except allowing. And not that that doesn't take an immense amount of courage if you're not used to doing it. Right? So for men, right, it's often about being vulnerable and feeling our feelings in a courageous way. And I don't know about you other guys, but I hate doing that stuff. Right? But what I know about it, that's where the gold is. That's where the gold is. Right? Because I know what that resistance I have is just my, insecure stuff, which is all an illusion anyway. Really, that's a thought form, the insecurity, yeah. And all we're doing really is then inviting the divine within it and just say, hey, heal it, baby. And knowing that it's done. Now, I know women have their own insecurities. In my past life, when I was a woman, no, we won't go there. All right, so let's call the musicians up before I get off on another tear, and then we'll be here till 2 o'clock. And then you won't be laughing. You'll be gone. All right, so let's take a deep breath. And let's just think about this day, right? So we've taken this day to come together as spiritual community, even if this is your first time here. You made a decision to come here. That there's something within us then that's wanting to connect and to share these ideas of what it is. What is the divine? What is the divine to me? What's my place with it? How can I play with it? How can I dance with it? How can I step into that courageous place within me that just is willing to open my heart to life itself and to allow the divine to express itself by means of these challenges or even so-called struggles that I'm currently working through? To consider all the ways that I know that there is a power for good in the universe available to everyone. That we need not, it's not we don't have to qualify it in any way. That it works as a principle that only knows to say yes. So as we consider the ways that this is so in our life today, we take the power and the insight and the juice of that realization, take it into our work week. See what shifts, and come back and report next week.
I know it's late, but I couldn't wait to call you on the phone. It's been a while since I've been home. All of this was my own choice, since the one upstairs has given me this voice. No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it breaks, I've got to use it or lose it. I just can't stand to refuse. Chances are what I've got to do, I've got to sing my song. Sing hatred into love. Sing praise to that God above. Sing the tears into a smile, yeah. Sing until you feel this is all worthwhile. Sing it high, sing it low, sing from deep within my soul. Sing it loud, make it clear. Sing so everyone can hear. Could it be, Lord, you've chosen me because I'd be nothing if I couldn't sing my song. By the way, may I say thank you for the love you've shown all of those years since I was born. People thought I was certain bound. They expected me to settle down. I'm not ignoring what they had in mind. Neither do I want to sound unkind. Before I give up, I've got to live up to the challenge to do my thing. I've got to break those apron strings. I've got to sing my song. Sing hatred into love. Sing praise to that spirit above, yeah. Sing the tears into a smile. Sing until you feel this is all worthwhile, yeah. Sing it high, sing it low, sing from deep within my soul. Sing it loud and make it clear. Sing so everyone can hear. Could it be, Lord, you've chosen me because I'd be nothing. I'd be nothing. I'd be nothing if I couldn't sing my song.
Full of the Holy
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Oh, Spirit lives and breathes through me.
Nice. So going within for a moment longer, just recognizing and knowing that the gifts presented here this morning are a demonstration of consciousness that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so through the generous heart of the individual from which these gifts have been offered here this morning, we, representing the heart of this spiritual community, accept these gifts with deep respect and love, as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless the life and intention of life for each one here this morning, anyone connected to this center in any way, that we extend these glad tidings to our friends here in our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them. For our planet as well, that we know that all of it is a very an expression of the very mind of spirit itself. And in this way, we see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. This lifts our hearts, empowers us into ways of spiritual living that not only raise our own lives, but we take others with us. And that's a good thing. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank the lovely Rita, Basket Maid, and Miss Chloe. And the teens are back. So I'm guessing you probably had a pretty good time. Yeah? Who is our spokesperson today? Okay. Jake said, let me out of here. All right, good.
All right, so of course we're back from camp. It was really fun. And so what we did in class today was we drew a mandala about camp and like what camp meant to us. This was my cabin, so I mean, I'm not really good at drawing, so.
Not that compact.
But
Pretty good to me, man.
yeah, and then your mandala.
Nice. Okay. Yours is love. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so that's a very meditative mandala there. You can just follow that around. You know, you guys have played with like the finger mandala things? Yeah. Good one, Josh.
And we also have a fundraiser coming up for winter camp for next year. It's a movie night, so yeah.
Do you have an idea what the movie is yet?
No.
But it'll be really good, I bet. Yeah. All right, good. All right. So, I forgot to give Rosalie the shout. So I did want to just two quick things. First of all, the mindfulness class that Christine is teaching on August 2nd on Thursday. It is an excellent class, as Andrea was saying. I took it with her the last time she offered it. She has a friend of hers who is going to be a team teaching with her. And if you've been wanting to, if you want to jumpstart your meditation practice, if you've never meditated, if you want to be exposed to many different types of meditation, and it is mindfulness, so a mindfulness focus, so which is a more secular thing. So if you have friends who've been saying, gee, blah, 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 then this would be a good class to introduce them to that. Right, Christine? Yeah. And she's a wonderful teacher, and she practices what she teaches, which is always excellent. The other thing is that if you're free on Wednesday morning at noon, after the Sangha, Reverend Jeannie has a movie. Is Mike Carlin in here? I've forgotten what the name of it is, but I'm going to stick around because it looks really interesting. So if you're free, come join us. All right, so I think that's it, Ken. Nice job today. Ken Francis, our music director, and the band, and Angela, who just stepped out. Let's get our ministers and practitioners to circle the room. Get Suzanne to join us, pray us out. Good to have you here. See you next week.
And I'm so grateful that we're all here today to hear just the right words and the right knowing of spiritual awareness and that presence of being that we're here to show up and realize. And I know that we take this spiritual fulfillment home with us, and with the rest of our week, live our best and highest life. And I know that we all drive home safely, arrive home safely, sleep well, and wake and refreshed, and live a really wonderful week, aware with God and being. I release my word to the law, knowing it's done, and together we say, and so it is.
Please stand for the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.